So, if you had a doubt in your mind that Kamla Persad-Bissessar wasn't ready to be the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, I'm pretty sure that the last two press conferences would have definitely changed your mind. Because let's be honest, democracy is back and it's in full swing. After looking at those both press conferences and seeing how the media has come after her in such a big way with so many questions to ask, you can definitely tell that this government is a different government, a government that is based on change, and a government that is ready to take Trinidad and Tobago forward. Normally, we know without a shadow of a doubt that the media tends to get scripted questions or limitations on what questions they could ask. But in this case, it seems like Kamla Persad-Bissessar has literally given the media free range to ask any questions that they want to ask, proving that Kamla Persad-Bissessar's political party is more about democracy than the PNM, who was clearly a tyrant party for the last 9 years. But let's look at some of the things, the highlights from the press conference, and pick apart some of the things that, she would like to bring to the table. Me personally, I would really like to hear what are the thoughts of the people in the country in the comment section based on her wanting to bring back the hangman. Now, I am down for stretching necks, but I understand that the society would want to try to see that here what we have to have a sense of morality where this is concerned, and up comes the human rights activists. But my thing is this: if we're going to say that stretching necks is a human rights atrocity, isn't all the murders that happened in Trinidad and Tobago under the last 9 years of the PNM, isn't that considered a human rights atrocity also? Because when you have murder rates hitting 500 and 600 in a year, I think that should fall under human rights atrocities. But here it is, those people who want the humanitarians, who want to hold Kamla Persad-Bissessar to task for those rights. It's funny how they didn't hold PNM to those same rights for all the men and women that were dying on the streets of Trinidad and Tobago yearly. It's pretty interesting. But I am in agreement. I do think that the hangman needs to return. I do think that we need to go back to stretching necks. But not only that, I would like to see that Kamla Persad-Bissessar also implement stricter penalties for people who have firearms. I genuinely believe that firearm offenses should not be bailable. I believe that the minute you are caught with a gun or you have committed a violent act with a firearm, you should forfeit your right to be among citizens. Guns should be a non-bailable offense. And I would really like to see, going forward, if she was to implement that, how things would actually play out in society. But not only that, let's look at the second half of this thing that was really interesting. We had the PSA members from WASA come up and they all celebrated, having this whole thing that the PNM was trying to put in place to mess with their jobs, basically rescinded by Kamla Persad-Bissessar. And I must say, seeing her rip up that contract definitely put a smile on a lot of people's faces. You could see the joy in all of their faces going forward. You could tell that they were truly happy about what was being done. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the PSA president in action. She's clearly a strong and remarkable woman who is dedicated to keeping the PSA in check and really seems to want the best for her workers. And I'm really hoping that they stay loyal to her and they help her do what she needs to get done, clearly to move the PSA and the workers' rights of Trinidad and Tobago forward. I genuinely look forward to seeing her work with the opposition to see what could best be done for the workers, the public servants of Trinidad and Tobago. And I'm really glad to see the outcome with WASA, because I genuinely believe that there was a lot of mismanagement going on in WASA. And even though a lot of people want to say that under the PNM, they were cleaning it up and they were fixing it and stuff like that, let's be honest, they only started trying to fix that in the last year leading up to elections. I figure for the amount of mismanagement that would have gone on in WASA over the last 9 years, it's a bit too late for them to try to do anything. But what I'm really proud to see, and you have to give Barry Patriot is digging, and he is digging and he's pulling receipts. And I genuinely look forward to seeing what Barry Patriot is going to bring to the table. Because if it is truly a case that we have executive members and board members receiving salaries of close to 100K and up, right, that was basically created by the PNM so that they could feed the so-called frenzy people at the top, I'm really looking forward to seeing Patriot bring those receipts and really put it out into the public domain so that we can see where the mismanagement of funds was going on under the PNM government. Because I've always said it in the past, the PNM thieves, the only thing is they have more practice thieving. So when they do it, they don't look like they're actually stealing. And it's really interesting to see that Patriot has this information. And I'm really looking forward to them bringing receipts, because you see, the one thing that Keith Rowley always said is that Kamla Persad-Bissessar and the United National Congress was a thieving government. And he swore on everything that was holy that here what he was going to bring Kamla Persad-Bissessar and her whole party to justice. They were going to make jail. But that's for another video. But I'm just saying it would be really nice this time around that Kamla Persad-Bissessar brings all the financial audits that she needs to bring. She brings all the receipts that she needs to bring also, so that people can actually, the citizens of Trinidad and could actually see how that mismanagement of funds was done by the PNM, and that we could have a clear-cut, route of where money was spent, where there was an overlapping of funds, all the bubble that was taking place. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Now let's talk about on the education spectrum. Laptops is back. And like I told you all, she never said that she was stopping the laptops, right? The laptops was not stopped under the PNM government. What would have happened was that the amount was reduced, but she's bringing it back in full force, and I'm really glad to see that she's going down that road with education. That is a big move, but I'm really, really interested in that AI aspect that she wants to bring to the forefront. I do believe that Trinidad and Tobago can definitely have its own AI educational interface. It will be something pretty amazing, and hey, I might be a bit biased here, but I think my boy Shivram Tilak Singh should be heading up that. I'm just saying, Shivram Tilak Singh he's the guy for the job. If not knocking who the UNC has to do the AI, but I just think UNC, y'all need to give Shivram Tilak Singh a call and bring that brother in on your plate and let him get a taste of this, because he's been saving Trinidad and Tobago from a lot of things in the last few years and within the last few months especially. So I definitely think there's a space for Shivram Tilak Singh in this whole AI thing. But AI education, I really think that Trinidad could benefit from an AI interface that literally teaches our children everything they need to know about Trinidad and Tobago. And not only our children, but our elderly citizens and stuff who aren't tech savvy. We could create something that teaches them simple things like how to fill out a birth paper form properly, how to fill out passports form, where you need to go for immigration, the different things of our island, our culture, the birds, the national instruments, all these different things. We should have an AI interface for that. Now, yes, I know you can simply type it up on Google, but it would be really interesting if it had something that was built and structured strictly around Trinidad and Tobago. I could definitely see us benefiting from that. And if Kamla Persad-Bissessar, I think if it's anybody that is geared towards doing this, is that new Minister of Education, along with that AI team that Kamla is putting together. They could definitely pull this off. So I'm really looking forward to see where she goes with that and how she creates that opportunity and brings that system on board. It's an amazing idea and an amazing concept. Now, let's talk a bit more about WASA and old infrastructure. Trinidad and Tobago has always had a maintaining problem when it comes to maintaining anything. And I've always said in the past that PNM has always been a party that forces Trinidadians to live third world lives when we could actually enjoy first world lives. A lot of our infrastructure, and it's not only our plumbing, not only the pipes for WASA, a lot of our infrastructure across the islands are pretty outdated. From even our planning and building structures, where a lot of those old plannings don't have simple things like fire escape, basic deterrence for if the building was to end up on fire, simple things like lighting sources, detection sources, smoke detectors, proper fire sprinklers, all these different things. Our infrastructure naturally in Trinidad and Tobago is behind by decades. And when I say decades, I mean decades. And there's definitely room for a lot of improvement there. So I would say that starting with WASA is a really good point, because if it is that we're going with the narrative of water for all, then we definitely need to upgrade the infrastructure where those pipes and things are concerned. And if it is a case that PNM did take a big loan and they didn't use it, I'm really looking forward to see what would happen if they get access to that money and what they could truly do other than just saving the jobs of the employees in WASA, who I do believe without a shadow of a doubt, PNM's full intention was to privatize WASA. Without a shadow of a doubt, that is the direction they were heading to. And I'm really glad that Kamla Persad-Bissessar is here to kind of put a spoke in our wheel, because it's just like it was out of control. And I can hear it in all the other public servants' voices in the press conference, who were talking about, like, from customs and exercise, port workers, you know, the WASA workers, public servants in general. A lot of things was forced down the throat by the PNM government, because PNM government was ruling from a tyrant position. They weren't given, there was no democracy anymore. It was, listen, you all have two choices. And in most cases, both choices was just bad. Both choices was always in the benefit of the government. So it's really good to see that here it is, we are opening back up that channel of discussion, that channel of dialogue, that channel of democracy. And it's really nice to see that Kamla Persad-Bissessar is leading the charge with this. It is truly interesting to see that we have a whole different space now, and you can tell that the place is it's lighter, and you can tell that Kamla Persad-Bissessar is very forward thinking on where she wants to see Trinidad and Tobago go in the next 5 years. And all I can say is we had a little cook, right? So if you reach this far in the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button. It lets YouTube know that AI exists, and most importantly, make a better version of yourself every day, Trinidad and Tobago. I out.